Just come on over, there is room. Jogging, shopping, or just dancing on the beach, or checking out a show. In Jamaica it is fine to go fishing all the time. It's lots more fun than fishing in the snow. In the West Indies, every Christmas is a time for all to smile. There's no winter time, there's just sweet sunshine at Christmas Jamaican style. Lots of green in mid-December, fragrant flowers sweetly bloom. Sunshine Christmas greetings I extend to you. Just come on over, there is room. Make yourself at home this season in Jamaica, where cool breezes blow. Catch the festive spirit sweet, catch the rhythm and the beat, instead of catching a cold out in the snow. In the West Indies, every Christmas is a time for all to smile. There's no winter time, there's just sweet sunshine at Christmas Jamaican style. In the West Indies, every Christmas is a time for all to smile. There's no winter time, there's a sweet sunshine at Christmas Jamaican style. In the West Indies, every Christmas.
Yes, indeed, of course, in the West Indies. And, of course, Trinidad and Tobago is smack in the West Indies. In fact, at the southern end of the archipelago that begins, of course, with Cuba in the north, and then, of course, onto Jamaica. Then, of course, we have just above that the Virgin Islands, and so Puerto Rico, and coming down Antigua and Barbuda, and then, of course, Dominica, then Barbados, of course, out in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not. It doesn't form part of the Caribbean Sea, frankly. Barbados is in fact in the Atlantic Ocean, smack. Of course, it's that archipelago that, of course, encircles that body of water that stretches from the east to, of course, the west, touching, of course, the shores of the Yucatan Peninsula, it is called, but of course we know it today as Mexico. So that is the geographic reality of that place. But I want to, of course, continue with the what I consider be the Christmas interlude, musical interlude, and to get some parents before we go further. One of my favorites is this one. So before we get into the business of tonight, let me just, of course, indulge myself and invite you to be also indulged, because I mean I see it as a fantastic piece of music, having regard to the storyline behind it. So let's get into that one time.
In Margarita, such a strange atmosphere.
Yes, indeed. That's well. We have no choice. We have no choice. We have to go to the lines. Let me just
Good night.
Good night, my
Coming
friend.
back from a sabbatical.
Yes, I realize that, my friend.
San Jose Serenaders, I know them fairly well.
Yes.
And
Oh,
you know
okay.
Wayne Florence,
Yes.
and he has gone to the great beyond.
Yes.
So, Good music. Nice
But I want
music.
to, I want to tell you, well, of
But let
course,
me talk.
you were conspicuous by your
As they say,
absence.
Plain talk, bad manners.
I hear you.
KCR, the first one.
Yes.
I hear you say the report on which was the investigation into the death of Maurice Julian. He didn't like the report, right? And
Yeah.
he get a legal opinion not to publicize it. First of all, who is the lawyer get a big set of money to give him that legal opinion, and does it worth its salt? Second thing is who choose the people to do the report? Isn't KCR and the band of misfits? You remember the KFC report? You remember the GG report? So he can't come with that BS now and tell us that he didn't like the report and he get a legal opinion. He get a legal opinion to hide what the people had to say. No, the three people on the report, two of them I think they were potong, eh? The one who was an ex-fire officer, you know the fire officer, they're all over the place. And then the other one, health and safety, and then the lawyer seems to be well, but the other one, because the other one from Diego Martin, and you know I'm a Diego Martin boy, and
Yes.
I know his competency in health and safety, even though he's all over the place and presuming and saying he's an authority on health and safety, not so partner. Now, that's the first point, Lennox. Are you with me?
Yes, of
Or I've
course,
lost
of
you?
course, my friend. I'm listening
Hello?
assiduously. Go ahead. Yes.
Hello?
Just a minute. Let me just see what is going wrong here. Call back, please. Call back, please. Call back, please. Don't know what transpired there. Don't know what went wrong there. But of course, he was on a roll, and suddenly, of course, the music came on, and and then all hell break loose. Right. Let's go again. Let's go again. Let me make
Hello?
sure that everything is all right.
Lennox?
Yeah. Right. You hear me now?
Right, you hear me now? So I had to
yeah.
start back from square one, right?
Yeah, no problem, man, no problem. I think what we missed, we would certainly would appreciate you going from the beginning.
All right, okay. So let me start with KCR and his rubbish, saying that he doesn't like the report and he got a legal opinion that tell him don't publicize it. First of all, we want to know who is the lawyer giving him that legal opinion. I hope it's not Casey Nelson. And I know he elevated a lot of them lawyers for senior counsel. I want to know who gave him that. No, you remember the KFC report?
Yeah.
Well, this is a similar. You choose people to give you an outcome. No, the fact that he hide it tells me it's something has fallen on his chest.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to put it out. So he making excuse. He all over the news making excuse.
So you're saying
That's
it
not-
is in line with the so-called license for firearms.
Right,
is in
the
that
GG
vein.
report.
All right, okay, good, right there. Yeah,
the GG report,
choosing these
all of
people
those
in
things.
order to get a particular outcome, paying them
Right.
from state resource. All right, good. Go ahead.
Right. So that's one issue. So I can't buy his stupidness. The second issue is the radar system. Why is the PNM hell-bent on not wanting a radar? What are they wanting to hide? I hear Penny commenting on the radar and saying that is lie. You know how we can settle all of this? Put a radar in front of Alize house. That's all we have to do. And we go find out the nexus. But listen to this. JJ, John Jeremy say, and he pointed at I'm a comment for you. And he said that inside Parliament. outside Parliament, the new minted COP, say, I'm coming for all the drug runners, you, and you. Is there a connection? We're going after them inside Parliament and outside Parliament. Right. The third one, I see a ACP commenting on one of the policemen who they found wanting in the Quran Islam prior to the big drug haul. And you hear what that ACP is saying, it's such a sad state of affairs. I want people to go back into the day of policing when most of the leadership of the current police service were before the Joint Select Committee. All of them was mum, silent, integrity compromised. They didn't know what was going on. So that tells me they weren't aware of the charges. This ACP behaving the same way. You in charge of a specialist unit, the extortion unit, and you don't know your charges in that unit? Come on, Lennox. Something had to be wrong with the leadership and the mind thinking of this fella. And this ACP, a judge lick him up, tell him his affidavit was compromised. You went and locked up the fella who had gone to the great beyond, the bamboo mouth. And the judge say, you come with an affidavit, and all them police who went to lock up Ishmael, you didn't bring them as witness? Nah, something had to be wrong. No, the most important point, this is the season of goodwill, right?
Yes.
The
Sharing
birthday of,
and giving, yes.
the birthday of the child Christ, right?
Yes.
I want to tell the PNM and the Venezuelan government, HYMC, have yourself a Merry Christmas. And KPB must stand strong. They want to derail her. They want her to lose her focus. But something is coming down. And this time, we go be close and we go lick up Mr. Big. And all them go to track for drug trade. That's what because the drug trade, because I listened to one of the senators in America.
Yeah.
He going after Trump and them. He said the route here is not for what they call them amphetamines and fentanyl, but the route and Venezuela is for cocaine. So what he's saying, drugs coming out of Venezuela, most likely through Colombia, and Trinidad is at one point in the archipelago, right up to America. So what the Americans doing and our government has to stand firm. Lick up the drug thing. Yes, we will go through some hard time, but our country will come out of this good. So we have to support them and support her. Support the Commissioner of Police. The only thing I am vexed about, and I tell them on a police show today, the police service have to transform the organizational structure with respect to personnel. They're rotten to the core with some officers, and they have to have legislation to dismiss them from the police service right away. And the first way to do that is to get rid of the current police service commissioner. God.
No, don't go yet.
Okay.
Last night, of course, we wanted to get your analytical mind on these matters relating to, of course, the drug find, the marijuana find in the swamp, and the fact that it was creepy marijuana. And when I did my research, creepy marijuana is a Colombian expression,
right?
And then Colombian construct. And then, of course, I wanted you to tell us if there is any nexus from your analysis with respect, of course, to the kidnapping and the fact that telephone call emanated or originated from Colombia. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, we have to go back to history. 2005.
Yes.
3 data points. it was a 32 kilos of cocaine.
Yes.
It was on the Monas Island. Monas Island is inhabited by few.
Yes.
It's small. Everybody's supposed to be macroing each other. Everybody know each other business. And the
Yes.
police was complicit in the investigation. They even question the owner of the house, right?
Right.
2 weeks after, or within 1 week, a big warehouse in Sawa burned down,
That's right.
which was alleged the owner of the property.
And that was after our head was amputated.
Alright, our head went missing.
Yeah,
And the story is alleged that it went to Colombia to
Yes.
show aid.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So when a shipment goes missing, somebody had to pay for it. It is sent, being commercial, 30-day site. Once it's shipped and it land in your territory, you have to pay for it. Win, lose, or draw. It's a consignment given to you. You understand?
Yes.
And I always tell people, it's the friends of the fishermen, not the fishermen and friends. All of them have go fast boat. And I want somebody to do an investigation. You see this grace race? It is a time for fun. It is a time for transport. Everybody watching grace race, but they have seen who going with and coming with. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Because they're dropping it off in Tobago and they're picking it up and bringing it back. And that is what the radar could pick up. And once the radar pick up some movement, they will, as Guevara said, remember Guevara came from a specialized unit. So he knows what technology the Americans have and what they could do. No, as I say, I'll be facetious, but put a radar in front of Alize House and you'll see all the connections. Pen
I
one
hear you, my
connections.
friend. I hear you, my friend. I hear you, my friend. Thanks
Pen
very much,
one
of course.
connection.
Yes. Thanks very much for that intervention. I had, of course, to engage in your wealth of knowledge on the matter, even though, of course, some of it may well be conspiracy, but and
It's
maybe
good conspiracy.
speculative.
It's conspiracy in line with the evidence.
Yeah, and very transparent.
Right. Yeah. I know name calling. No
Yes,
name calling.
yes,
Yes,
indeed,
connect
yes,
the
indeed.
dots.
Right.
Yes,
So,
connect the dots.
so the dots have been recognized, and the T's have the T's have been crossed. Yes.
Another evidential.
Go ahead.
We say creepy Colombian marijuana.
Yes.
Why the PNM behaving so creepy? They on it or what?
I don't know. They probably have cocoa in the sun and maybe expecting sun and not rain. I don't
Right,
know.
yeah.
But it may well rain on their parade.
Right. You understand? That's why I say, let me see who think. You realize Balize House at a standstill?
Yeah.
Fight
But, in fact, it is like now nature is taking over. Just as
Right.
those schools that they left abandoned and fallow, Balize House is now being overgrown by vines and nature and nature. Let's say elements, nature elements. Yes. People, go and check it. Go and check it. And
Right.
and somebody wants to in moss as well because they did not get the glassing that the outer parts of the building was supposed to be encircled with. They reach a certain point, and the points that have not been glassed, you're seeing, of course, green, like moss starting to grow on it. But we had predicted that evil cannot prevail over good. That is the bottom line.
And the last point,
Go ahead.
they passed a legislation for 4 marijuana plants. Balize House have 4 creepy plants.
We had to go and check. We had to go and check because they may want to camouflage it with, of course, the presence of total bush and and greenery being grown there now. But
Yeah, because every time they give a press conference, it looks like they're on it by All kind of stupidness. All kind of stupidness.
Yeah.
All right, I got
All
this
right.
time. Later.
Yes, well, the truth does offend, and people that start to cuss, and some conscience does prick them, and so, of course, you have all kinds of revelations taking place, some advertent, some inadvertent in terms of their utterances. Yes, ambulatory, cacophonous babblings. But that being as it may, let's go straight, of course, to Alan Roberts. Recently, of course, in the Parliament, we had a debate on the financial state of affairs, and I'm saying so against, of course, the background of the Moody's and the S&P's credit rating recently, moving Trinidad and Tobago from the status of stable to negative. And we have made the argument already last night, and of course on the ground report this morning, with respect to the fact that, and two things were very poignant. One was that the PNM met some over 12 billion in reserves in 2015, and by the time the 28th of April this year reached, it was down to 4 billion only. So in 2015, they had some 12 months of import. That is the standard, that is the benchmark that is used internationally to determine the health of your economy. And of course, if it is that your reserve has been depleted and there is no probably, or should I say, there are very little signs that it would be augmented, then of course it attracts a particular rating, and of course one that is of a negative nature. The fact, what I'm saying all that to say, that it cannot be the fault of the UNC coalition of interests that stable to negative, though it has befallen them whilst in office as a godsend. The fact of the matter is that hypothetically, if the PNM was in office, I tell you me, that rating would have been junk status, yes, if the PNM was still in office after the 28th of April. So, whilst of course, moving from stable to negative is not a good place generally, but it also signals an opportunity for the present government looking forward to the next 12 months when it would have been able to, by virtue of the budget that was passed, to implement its policies and programs for diversification, for increasing the intake of foreign exchange, for expanding our GDP, and for, of course, addressing frontally the deficit that is inevitable, even though in 2015, Rowley told us that they would, of course, be engaged in what was called being able to expend or use money based on what you received. But that did not happen because they were claiming at the time that what? That they were reducing the deficit. That did not happen. That's not waste time. And it was upwards of $9 billion by the time they left office. That is a tragedy. So Moody's and they would have had to look at the country where it is. They are not concerned with what I consider to be the incremental or the antecedent or the who was there first and who was there last, who utilized all of the money, and today, of course, there is very little. They are not business with that. They are business, of course, with the figures, the facts and the figures as they are extemporaneously, as they are existentially. And so we as a people, must apply our common sense and say, no, it was the PNM that gobbled up all of that 12 billion. Because when they got into office, it was not close to. It was not close to, in terms of our credit rating, negative status. Far less for stable. It was AA and AB at that kind of upper echelon, that type of higher level, so that our borrowing capacity and our economy would have been looking good. But by the time they left office, the UNC unfortunately had to inherit an almost junk status economy by way of the credit rating, as of course extrapolated and recorded by S&P and of course Moody. And let's not waste time. Ibsbert could talk how much hogwash he wants. It cannot be, your common sense will tell you people, it cannot be that in 6 months' time, and they have the audacity to get on as though the $12 billion was inherited by the UNC, you know. Because I heard one madman, he said that he was, of course, one of the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance, and then he turned, he's a senator today. He has some name that I care not to remember or commit to memory for that matter, because of the hogwash and the dotishness that he speaks, and saying about how the amount of reserves that was left there when the PNM demitted office, it was burning up too fast. Having left, of course, a hole, having left, of course, mal negotiations, unfaithful negotiations, not acting in good faith negotiations with the trade unions, closing down the oil refinery, losing the opportunity to get a windfall, just as how a windfall came for the production of oil, even though it didn't increase. Consequential of what? Of the Ukraine-Russian war. So imagine if the oil refinery was up and running. But the PNM has this uncanny, deceptive, wicked, diabolical, and obfuscatory approach nestled in propaganda. And Rowley never once mentioned what would have been the projected intake. As far as the oil refinery is concerned, if it was operating, just as how he boasted that some $8 billion came in as a consequence of the war between Russia and Ukraine, and oil prices jumped, and so they were able to get an extra $8 billion. He was boasting about that alone. Why is Biden in the United States was calling on the oil refiners in such a situation where world prices of these commodities were going through the roof? Biden had to call on the refiners to say, oh gosh, give the consumer a little break now. All they're making a killing. And so he read the riot act. And I'm saying to you, take that scenario and superimpose it on Trinidad and Tobago, and just imagine if the oil refinery was operating, how we would have been bathing in foreign reserves. Bathing in foreign reserves. Because if you got 8 billion, you didn't increase production because you had no production to increase. You didn't do that. Then just imagine what would have happened if the oil refinery was operating. Ibsbert, of course, confessing that the oil refinery, when it was closed, was actually making a profit, making a net profit. even though the decision was made to close it down. But I don't get me vexed before I play it. But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Hey, good night, Lennox. Good night.
Good night, my friend.
Henry.
Yes, man.
Good night. Good night. Good. Observation there, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, the question is, what is the motive and the thing, but why he closed down refinery? What's if the refinery was making money, and that time for the COVID time, if they was making a lot of money.
Of course, if you get 8 billion that you didn't cater for, you didn't work for, with the existing output that you had of raw crude oil, imagine what would have happened. I would say that it's 3 times that as far as the oil refinery is concerned, because when these products are sold on the world market, you're talking about a killing. But go ahead.
But US dollars, eh?
US dollars, that's right.
Right. So what's the reason? What I mean, who make that decision to close it down? Him?
Very good question.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Very good question. Do your analysis. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure that out for a long time. Who will make the assessment to make that a big decision to close it down? That far as I was growing up, far as I was growing up when I was young, and I know that the refinery is a backbone of Trinidad and Tobago, and that was go out oil, gold oil, like gold, you know. So that's what I was growing up at.
That
so
is
I don't know
what
happened.
But wait, my friend, that requires a commission of inquiry. You know, that is a serious blow. When in circumstances it was closed down, when you had no serious alternative. Tourism, you can't depend on agriculture, you can't depend on sports, you can't depend on even your culture, the export of our soca and music, etc. But you're closing down.
Depend on that.
Yeah, go ahead, my friend.
But that's what when I was growing up, my father worked in the oil field. My brothers work in the oil field. I work in the oil field. So when I was working at Tesoro, remember Tesoro? Down in Santa Flora? I worked in there. Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead. I'm talking to somebody inside there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then and when he closed on that, I was like shocked. I mean when Kamala was there before, everything was fine. That's how she happened to get some $11 billion in there.
Said after the closure, after the conspiracy by the entire cabinet, and everybody should be charged for treason, frankly, who was in part and parcel of that Rowley administration. Yeah.
I think that was so.
Imbert came back and said when they want to sell it now, he has to talk about it in favorable terms, and so he confessed that the oil refinery was a net earner of foreign exchange. Net earner after, of course, all the sales and so on, and in spite of all the cost to import over 100,000 barrels a day to refine because of the huge capacity it had to produce, and the sale. We have a monopoly in the CARICOM and even now an obligation to provide our smaller Caribbean friends according to an arrangement under of course CARICOM to provide them with that fuel for their energy purposes. All of that. And you close it down. Go ahead.
That guy is a wicked guy.
Very, And what?
He's a wicked, wicked guy to close down the friend that put so many people out of a job.
Well, let me go to the chase one time. The reason for closing it down is to save one man. That is why I said the entire cabinet has to be found guilty or is guilty of treason, because they, whether they individually did not vote for it or not, there's a collective responsibility, and nobody came out and said, look, I disagree. So I'm saying that was as a result of the fact that the fake oil matter was becoming to be an embarrassment for Rowley himself, who, when it broke, said that AV drilling owner is his friend. And then it turned out that the man at the end of the cooking the books at the end of the
Right.
at the refinery end, his name slipped me now, but he was a former candidate for the PNM contesting against Kamala Prasad Bisesa in her constituency. Yeah, all of that. And it was clear a police investigation was launched, and we saw where, of course, Rowley ended up putting his personal lawyer, Kwamina, to be chairman of the legacy company or the holding company that was responsible for providing the evidence as in respect of the fake oil matter. So all of that shows that there was an attempt to subvert the cause of criminal justice, and this government, in my view, is obligated to launch at minimum a commission of inquiry, not expensive, but to find out why it is that our mainstay, a major component of earning foreign exchange, was flitted away in such circumstance when all had to be done was to put Rowley under the bus, and the country would be better off, but instead they put the country under the bus to save Rowley. I mean, that is...
To save Rowley, save one man.
Yeah.
To save one man.
To save one
But
man.
I will tell you something.
Just imagine that. Yeah.
But, Lennox,
Yeah.
they have to get rid of that BPP. See, all of them, you have to get rid of that man. Because let me tell you something, he has something to do with bricks in them. Because all of them should be in jail.
Of
Because
course.
how a man could break a economy of the country, one man, to save one man. Who the hell is you?
Whole cabinet, the government, rally, they coalesce with each other and conspired to save one man. When he should have been thrown under the bus. He is expendable, as we see now. He's no use to us. It was so as Prime Minister, and it is now so as ex-Prime Minister. Nobody takes it on.
But he talking to him. Why, Rowley, why did you close down Petrotrend? Who are you trying to break? Who are you trying to cover up? Or what are you trying to cover up? Himself, the guy, even the people on the, don't forget this, before divers, you know. Mr. Lennox.
Yes, man.
Don't
So I
forget
thought it was
before divers.
important. Yeah.
All is connected up to, you know.
Yeah, there's a number of other variables that we can add to that equation, or put another way, to that mumbo jumbo, that hodgepodge. Because remember, Munilal had made some revelations in the parliament, saying that some cousin of his and some check coming from some subsidiary of AV Drilling, and it was trailed, of course, to a foreign bank, and ended up, of course, in another country. And Rowley called a press conference saying, I am innocent. And then it turned out, I think a particular Rowley. And the cousin saying, well, listen, I don't know anything about that. That's another dimension to this whole process. That is why there is an imperative to have a commission of inquiry. That's one part of it.
But you know, I keep telling all you, I keep telling you from the beginning, that man take that money from for his pension. That's only Mama guy, you know. He had I can't
stockpile of resources, yeah.
I have that only.
Yeah.
That's only a pop up a Mama guy.
Yeah.
To feel like you don't have money.
Yeah, to give the impression that he's in a state of impecuniary. Yeah, he's poor.
He must start young. You think he need that? You don't need that. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Link, Mr. Lennox, you will see.
Yeah, they gormandize and they savagely and brutally dispossess the people of Trinidad and Tobago from their hard-earned and God-given resources.
Taxpayers' money.
Yes, taxpayers' money.
Lennox, I'm going to say more because let me say one thing again.
Go ahead.
Lennox, when I was talking this morning in the wrong report about when Andy cut out the push up that he couldn't hear me. Listen, I wasn't bashing. I want to make that clear. I wasn't bashing K3, you know.
Okay.
I was trying to help him to not to talk about those things because it makes him look bad, you know. And then when some people maybe want to help him, and they will not help him. I didn't want to. I wasn't going to I was bashing him. You know, I mentioned I wasn't going to bash him. I was just trying to help him. You know what I mean? I was trying to help the guy because he maybe he's in a bad situation. I understand everybody have their own thing going on. You know what I mean? But he have to come with a different angle. You know, you can't be doing this and making threats and doing that and say, oh, we're gonna do this. You can't say that. You know, you have to pick. Sometimes you have to go backward, and sometimes you have to keep your mouth shut and don't say nothing what you're supposed to say. Just say you want some help, and see if somebody in the ground report, somebody might know somebody who will give you some help. But you can't talk like that. You know, if they hear that, they wouldn't help you. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was going to say, but when Andy couldn't hear me, probably he could make a noise or something.
No, that's right.
But
I
didn't bash him or anything. I know I wasn't doing that. You know, I was just trying to help him, you know.
Yeah.
Try to give him some advice, you know. That's it. All right, Mr. Lennox.
Yes. Thanks very much for that intervention. It was very, what I can say, reminiscent. You know, I mean, we were in a state of nostalgia in terms of the genesis as to why we are where we are. And of course, we have to generate the nexus as to why Moody's would see Trinidad and Tobago in the state that it is today because of the level of incompetence, corruption, nepotism, cronyism, unadulterated, and what I consider to be unbridled greed. Greed for unmeritorious acquisition of the people's resources, taxpayers' resources, citizens' resources for a few, to benefit a few, and to be, as the terminology would have suggested and coined by Rowley himself and his cohorts then, they hastily wanted to be part of the 1%. The 1%. And so that blinded them. And they would take no prisoners as far as the emptying or pillaging of the treasury is concerned. But I think we have laid the foundation to the introduction of Anil Roberts, who would, of course, from what you would hear tonight, take you to the next stage, or put another way, comprehensively analyze what we already know and have discussed tonight, albeit in a short segment of tonight's program. let's go straight to Anil Roberts. Let's go straight to Anil Roberts, and you will understand where I'm coming from. Yes, indeed. Let's go straight here.
The Honorable Senator Anil Roberts, Minister of Housing.
I was on the football field and I get shake like 2 or 3 times already. But you see, God is good. Because I stand here today, Mr. President, in a better mood, having been usurped by the Honorable Senator Courtney Arthur McNish. Arthur. Because if he didn't stand up, I would have come at Senator Dan Paul very hard and very vexed, but now I'm in a good mood because some intelligence came, some understanding, some good points, so I am happy. But Senator Dan Paul, let me deal with you anyway. Yeah? First of all, sir, this bill is not about gun, but it's codifying what exists in the common law, okay? But obviously, if you listen to the Attorney General and the Honorable Prime Minister and the government, we want to keep our citizens safe. Because unfortunately, for 10 long years, when your government was in charge, nothing functioned. You didn't help the judiciary. You didn't help the DPP. The DPP at 37%. You didn't buy car under attack in their homes. They call in. Nobody answering the phone. The police had no car to come. They come after the bandits gone and people lying down dead already. So we have to protect the citizens because one life lost, one home invasion, all you asking about, if it was the number, if it's 500, 520, if it is one, it is too many. We have to protect the people. I sit here and I hear some of the most ludicrous arguments. You talking, and then they talk about a gun. If guns are going to any FUL holder as Senator thank you. My calm didn't last long, but I was still good. There is a process. A gun is not something that you just hand out like dinner mint. There is training, there is practice, there is psychological testing. You don't get a gun and just say, well, what to do with this? So when you're in your house and bandits come in, you are well trained. Then there's the other thing, the PNM coming up with, creating all sorts of cases. There's no panacea for anything. The baddest soldier in the world could die. Rambo get killed because there may be circumstances where you are short and you have to understand and your training has to kick in. If you are...
Let's go straight to the line. President Knight, welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and to all your listeners, and East, West, North, and South, and all in sundry. And to all your listeners, honestly, Uncle Lennox is performing. The team beat 3-0, and they're on the road to success.
Yes,
we need
ma'am.
a little more support.
Yes, indeed.
Please come out. Please send a little dollar. I mean, I just beg for Uncle Lennox, but Uncle Lennox don't beg for me. But the nice thing about it, I would like to beg on behalf of the youths and the club that doing a good thing and staying away from trouble to show the PNM when they neglect the children of Eden that Jesus sent a man to rescue them. But anyway, I'm not a preacher, but Uncle Lennox, first the PNM, the thief, Kami, penny, penalty beggars. They may have no shame in thieving. They're out of government and they're thieving still. Just imagine, my honorable political leader and Prime Minister, SC, chose a song and praise God and thank God when she was campaigning. You know the thief that song and play it on the campaign trail? And just imagine, under Rowley, they buy out the preachers and all the churches and small churches to give them hush money, not to pray for this country, so that their demon can arise. But anyway, and then you're talking about Keith Rowley and David Singh and AV Drilling. The money went in a company in Guyana in Formula One, and then it reached to Brooklyn in America on the brother, and that was kill the brother when he get heart attack. You know that jail coming for him to cash a check for 500,000 US, and that is why Rowley run down in Guyana and declared Granger the winner. He's a EBC and a Caribbean election observer. He declared the election that Granger win it in Guyana, so he could have covered up the shell company, the company where there's only a fraudulent company. Let me say put it that way. A fraudulent company that established to pass the money through. Nothing come out of that. But then when Rowley went and thief with Sharon to build she house for she Tobago and the material keep running down the hill. I want to know, Ken Gordon, you know you're dog in age and you'll win a lawsuit. So I'll just tell you good night. But I want to know how it is. Rowley had the right to be heard and still answer that question, and they put it one side in a cabinet and hiding that matter before the Integrity Commission. And then you have $22 billion in COVID, a whole budget disappear. Rowley, where our money gone? But Uncle Lennox, I'm not going to talk about that, you know. I want to talk about, you see the mad people in Venezuela? I want to tell them, hold their mother and tell their mother, come in my yard. Bring the mother, come in my yard. Because here what's going on. They need Trinidad more than ever. Even Donald Trump got in help them. Because you know why? The dragon seal where it there. And where that gas is outside of Venezuela. Right? It neither here or neither there. Because they're going to sell it down to Mexico, it costs you money. If you have to bring it to Venezuela, it's $1.3 billion US in pipeline just to touch land. You know how much miles that is? And how much kilometers? The closest way to bring that gas for Venezuela to benefit is Trinidad and Tobago. And the closest thing in the middle of the ocean to that is the Hibiscus field of Shakamasi. So when they're talking that they canceled, Rowley and Stoughton had to say, why Konoko Philip, right? And them have a $1 billion arbitration to pay. How that come about? Because one company tried to thief the other one. And to outwit for someone and they win the arbitration. Stoughton, come and tell me about that now, boy. Don't say that Venezuela cancer deal and we are suffer. Because here what's going on. I asked you about the NGL stock. Rambin come there, that's only in 6 months' time, and he make $99 million after tax. That's to show you the level of thieving. You and Mark Lukwan was thieving $135 million US on a piece of paper to hold at Republic Bank and bust it. But I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the gas deal, right? That they're talking about what the cancer, then Maduro can cancel it. But I want back with $1 million a month, all of us paid them, either in US or TTO or in Bolivars. Because all of us want to talk about my political party and all the triggering asset thing and all the failing. People asking for the cash. Who didn't get cash? Why does the PNM didn't pay them? Since 2024, they sign off on the agreement. Why didn't pay them in there? Because why? Dan Paul know how to move money and always waited for property tax. But Uncle Lennox, that is enough for them people. I want to stay on Trinidad issue. You see how Trinidadians are a hypocrite when they follow the PNM? The PNM said the TRA will get $10 billion in loose money. Because the doublesman are paying tax, the waterman are paying tax, the bucket vendor are paying tax. And we have to loop all of them. My esteemed political leaders say that the PNM put property tax on domestic people. She said, why you don't put it on the people who are the money, the industries and the manufacturers who make it millions of dollars? And that's what they do. We only put the rental And I hear a man in Tobago talking on our program that you rented an apartment, but he didn't say that if you're rented for a certain amount, you have a ceiling to pay a certain amount of percentage. And if you cross that ceiling, you pay the 3%. You see how ungrateful when Satan wants to corrupt the agents and them, but they will soon fall. Move Satan and we pass. Because here what's going on, it have watchdogs and people talking and I hear because here what's going on. The tax they put on electricity, all of us getting it subsidized and all of us paying for it. You tell me, companies making $135 million selling beverage. Why they don't drop the price of the beverage for the bar owners to make a better profit and cut their profit by just 2%? No, because they want to keep their profit margin high and they don't care how the sellers, the agents who have to spin it off. You know that they was talking about the underworld and the money laundering and the factor and the blacklist that we have to get past under the PNM, rush it through the parliament, with Chotong and them and India to curb money laundering and terrorist financing. Now they put the right tax. You talking about if I have a machine, I only make it 5,000 and if they're making it 6,000, how you compare that a bar who dog in Shagwanas making $20,000, how you can put that even tax? But all I was talking about revenue authority, privatize it to a company to go and get the money, $10 billion. Where are they getting it from? And property tax was for everybody. Now it's for the poor man. Penny, all I explained. And all they had to keep, when all the campaigning, say how much percent all they grow the economy, how much billions of dollars all they bring in investment. What is the revenue stream in this country? Because Uncle Lennox, it's time I will ask the question as long as God gave you life to come on this program. Penny, $145 billion US was borrowed externally, all internally, and $500 billion spent. And all the special companies borrow, plus all the raise the ceiling of borrowing, debt to GDP. Where that money gone? So Uncle Lennox, what he was talking about? You was talking about gas deal. That right now, you remember it had a cola. When I asked her, I said, let's watch the geographic map and see where Guyana is. And when the pipeline will come, it coming through international water to come. Down on that peak, Uncle Lennox, if ExxonMobil take my conversation and they're spotting a well on the block down there, we will get the gas what they're looking for more than what the Dragon have. Because that is the basin and the consortium what feed the East Coast. Have a pleasant good night, Uncle Lennox.
Yes, indeed, man. Of course, the one that I'm particularly would like to zero in on is the concept of what I consider the deception that has been concocted by Imsbert to give the impression that the property tax is a better tax than that of the tax that was introduced by this government, called, of course, the landlord tax. You see, it is easy to analyze and assess. Landlords are making money, right. And so that is one of the factors that would have caused the decision to target them, because prior to that, they were not contributing to the tax net or the tax intake of the state. They were making money without taxation. That's one. The other thing that you must know and understand is that all properties does not, a vast majority does not and cannot be categorized as properties with a landlord. All properties in the country cannot be categorized as having a landlord. Because landlord suggests, indicates, connotates that there is some tenant that is paying to utilize the landlord's property. I'm being very meticulous and particular here because I want to make a distinction between that tax that is only applicable to landlords and not all owners of land or property are landlords. Not all owners of property are landlords. In fact, there's a vast majority will not be landlords. I'm very meticulous here because I want to make the following point, and that is, in the case of the property tax introduced by Rowley and Day, it doesn't matter whether you are a landlord or non-landlord, you are subjected to that tax. That's the big difference. Everybody pays. And if your property is valued $14,000 and below, the minimum you have to pay is in the vicinity of, I believe, $500 you have to pay on that property. So let's get it clear. Once you own property, you pay property tax according to the PNM's version of that tax. But in the case of the UNC and the current administration, only if you are a landlord, therefore having tenants, you pay that landlord subsidy. Well, I shouldn't say subsidy, but it's more like a levy, more like a levy. Not a subsidy. A subsidy is when, of course, you get a benefit. But, of course, you want to tax that person. So it's a surcharge. Yeah, surcharge is the appropriate term. All right, so let's get that clear. Not all landlords, or put another way, all landlords have property, but not all property owners are landlords. But not all property owners are landlords. Let's get that clear. And therefore that surcharge that is being charged on only landlords is a superior mechanism to that of everybody. Once you own property, you have to pay that tax. So it is very eclectic or selective and targeting, of course, those who making money. Because you may have property, the majority of the population, therefore, will have property, but they're not making money on it. But yet still you have this concocted, amorphous, imaginary application of a formula as far as the property tax is concerned, where they imagine that somebody is what? Is renting the property, and it has a rental value and all of that. All the properties in the country. So it was important to do that. But let's get back to Alan Roberts at this point in time. Of course, he showed where the thinking of the PNM operatives in this country, in the party, out of the party, clearly are just myopic and as if they have on blinders. They are destined for the destination called stupidity. Yes, if stupidity was a destination, all of them would have headed there. So let's go back to Alan Roberts and let's see what he has to say with respect to this, and other, of course, aspects of his presentation. Yes, indeed. Let me just get the right. So Parliament is there, and let's go straight to Arnold Roberts in terms of his presentation.
Sort of Lewis, I changed around my batting order because Senator Lewis went for some water or something. So let me start with Senator, the Honorable Lewis. Senator Francis Lewis. With all due respect, Senator, government and the issues that we face now did not begin when you were fortunate to be appointed as a president's senator. This is about the third time I've heard you saying that you're a neophyte and you begin here. This is the economy. We can't begin here. We must know what happened, what went before, what brought us here, how we are here now, and where we are going in the future. So with all due respect, I really would like to hear you, listen to you with some sort of action and knowledge. But if you...
Yes, indeed. Let me just take off Anil here. Let me just stop Anil here, and then, of course, take the call. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, I'll make one statement about that. Let me just...
Go ahead, my friend.
Remember,
yeah,
when people say,
yeah,
a property like that, he have to pay no tax next 25 years. You hear about that?
Repeat that, Mayor. I didn't hear it clearly.
The court was saying that the property they own, you have the landlord and then you own the property, don't have to pay tax for next 25 years.
Oh, I see.
You know what? You forgot it?
All right,
you
go ahead.
Can remember?
Yeah.
Right. You see what Ember did now? He have property rented all over the place. So
yeah, well, remember, he and Alvari and Rowley have been enjoying a measure that they introduced for their own benefit, utilizing the Parliament by saying that if you construct family high-rise apartment dwellings, that you have no tax to pay for 25 years. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he is in a bout of trepidation because he doesn't want to pay any kind of tax, even though, of course, he's a legislature and would like to impose tax on everybody who own property if they had gotten their way.
Right. So that is why he said that, because he doesn't want to pay tax. All is about Alvari and all of them.
Yeah.
All of them who own property all about. That's where they come up with that crap. That the poor guy who have a little place pay tax or have a little room or something, they want to pay tax to their house or home.
Yeah, and suddenly, of course, they are concerned with the renters, the tenants becoming more poor. But we know that Imsburg property in Woodbrook, one apartment was going for over $1 million. Why didn't he reduce it by half? Since he so loved tenants.
No.
Love of convenience. Hypocrites.
Love is convenience. No, that's why he's going against it.
Yeah.
Not to pay the tax.
Yeah, he's only concerned about his own bottom line, his own pocket, yes. Yeah, that's all that's about.
Right now, he bottom clapping.
Yeah.
Like a church service, because you have to pay all that money coming up, millions of dollars coming up. And also our area them. All is for we rent that place when it's not a government place and was private place, residential. Remember?
Yes.
So all of these things are coming up.
Yes.
All right,
all
let me stand on that. I just want to elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, there must be a comprehensive commission of inquiry, man. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, yes. there must be a comprehensive commission of crime. Of course, we talk yet about Delcy Rodriguez, we talk yet about, of course, Vincent Nelson, we talk yet about that tragic, unfortunate, I mean, clearly contradiction of fundamental human rights. Are talking about the kidnapping, from Barbados of a citizen of this country. We ain't talk that yet. We ain't talk yet about the whole issue about the Prime Minister. It is awesome, with the awesome power that he wields, utilize it to stop and eventually to cause the resignation of an entire commission called the Police Service Commission. Those are very, very significant things. Use your slim majority in the parliament to postpone the local government elections. Use the slim majority in the parliament to increase the number of seats in Tobago because you want to break the deadlock in your favor and therefore get the EBC to, of course, add 3 other seats that up to that point in time they believe would have been favorable to the PNM. Well, Tobago showed them where barley really grows. And they will show them again 15 none licking in the tail, because on that occasion they still came home with 1. They shall get none on this occasion. And let's go back to Anna Roberts. That I should make those kinds of generic but nonetheless very specific so that people could understand what we came from. So don't be fazed by the nonsense talk, but all we have to do, of course, is to be frugal. We will talk about, of course, the whole question of that 220 workers that would have been employed by the pilot project launched by the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. We will treat with that probably tomorrow night, because we have some serious documentation and some serious figures that we will have to share with, so that you get a clear appreciation as to what is happening. But what you should remember, it's a pilot project.
That you would go back, look at some debates, look at what took place, look at the policies of the former Minister of Finance, who's now downstairs, the member for Diego Martin Northeast, hear how he spoke, hear his policies, what he implemented, and then come to criticize me, and I might say, okay, let me listen. But if you can't do that, stick break in my ears. Secondly, with all due respect, sir, we are in a political system that is adversarial. See here? Government versus opposition. You are fortunate. You are selected. We are here because of politics. So don't come here and lecture me and the government about staying away from politics. We are here in charge, bringing this bill because of politics, because the people heard us, because we walk outside there, because we take cuss in the hot sun, because we ask people to vote for us, because we hear the plight of the people. You may have spoken to quite a few people, but I can guarantee you over the last 9.5 years, I've spoken to thousands and thousands more across this country, because I am involved in politics. So it's rather unfortunate that you would take the opportunity to berate me and my colleagues over here for being involved in what we are involved in. So I would ask you to cease and desist. I would love to listen. You said, sir, Senator Lewis, that you cannot hunt with the hares and hunt with the hounds and run with the hounds. You cannot hunt with the hares and run with the hounds. It does not feel right. You spoke about conflict in some clauses here, and other members spoke about it, that the government may put some members on the BIR board and so on. But if you did not learn about the hunt and the hounds with the TTRA, where this PNM wanted to create a new revenue authority, created and concocted and orchestrated by a Minister of Finance who selects the entire board first. And when you see a PNM board, for example, You saw the NGC PNM board that invested $233 million in absolutely nothing in order to facilitate the PNM policy. And then they begged for an indemnity because they might get locked up. Do you recall that, or were you not paying attention? So you see, if the TTRA that they wanted to bring, that they keep coming here and saying that the TTRA would have brought some mysterious $5 billion just like that, their Minister of Finance was going to appoint a PNM board. The PNM board would have then hired the Director General. The Director General and 6 or 7 other offices would have been under the auspices and control of the PNM board.
Let's pause there, merely, of course, to reminisce a bit, because we did, of course, look at this situation, this uncanny behavior, this illogical, this incongruent behavior of the PNM in terms of their common sense and knowledge and logic. Because here it is. They always speak about something to be and that it would be successful. But you know, those things that they actually manifest, those things that they actually materialize, you know, all fail. All fail. All fail. They promised us, of course, a sea bridge that was supposed to be efficacious. It failed. And while, of course, you may say now that the new boats that they bought would have neutralized that. No. What? As I told a former Minister of Social Development of the PNM some time ago, Anthony Roberts, when they failed to, of course, provide on a timely basis subvention that they would normally give to a particular children's home. I'm not going to call the name of the home. And they stop it because of some inability to be transparent, as the case may be. Stop it. And I had to ask him the question, when you do that and the children cannot eat, they cannot recreate, they cannot get to the electricity and so on to keep cool or to shine in the dark night. In other words, I told him that they're not like a car. That if, of course, the oil run out, you could rest it down there and wait until until you get oil, and then, of course, start it again and go ahead. Children must eat. They must be fed. 3 square meals, preferably, every day. And then he understood where I was coming from. But the job or the damage was already done. Damage was already done. So that is what Adel Roberts is talking about. Where they boast about things to be. The Trinidad and Tobago revenue would bring so and so and so and so. You're not even guaranteed that the property tax would have brought what they anticipated because of people who would engage in tax evasion and all of that, because they find that the government is too draconian, too harsh. And if they could avoid it, they would avoid it. But let's continue with Anthony Roberts until, of course, the end of his presentation.
That is worse than anything that you have seen with the hounds or the hares today. So when you come here, you must understand what we saved this country from. We saved this country from the PNM, from the former Minister of Finance, who laughed at the population as he took away the subsidies, as they implemented austerity measures and talked about we didn't go IMF. You want to know why I get upset with Senator Dan Paul? Because he knows why he didn't go to the IMF. Because of KAMLA. Because when September 2015 came, there was $12.26 billion US in the reserves. 14 months import cover. There was 6.8 billion US in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. The Treasury was full of money. His Prime Minister and his Minister of Finance, who won once day, said there was only 3 days to run the country. And then next thing he was in a conversations with graphs showing huge cash balances at bank. So the only reason the PNM didn't have to go to the IMF was because Kamla Persad-Bissessar, the member for Separia, when she was Prime Minister, and her government managed the economy so well that they allowed this failing government to exist while shattering the economy, while losing over 60,000 jobs. Yet, we had inflation. For 9.5 years, we went through something called stagflation. I wasn't going to talk today, but when I heard Senator the Honorable Amory Brown talk, that sort of fantasy, that concoction without any sort of reliable information, talking about growth in the last 3 years, and now we're in recession. If you shrink an economy by 19% and then it grows by 3%, the last time I checked, you're still 16% short. But they come here and pretend like all of us don't read, we don't research, or we do not have the ability to recall. And that's why it's important to know where we came from, so that I could listen. If you want us to listen, I want to listen. But I work very hard to come here to debate. And that's why, Honorable President, I must apologize to you. I accused the Senator Sanjeev Budo of lying. I use a strong word, and it's unparliamentary. I withdraw it and I say sorry. Because, Honorable President, the member said that over 100,000 jobs were lost. So I withdraw the strong word. What I would tell you is that he was untruthful. He was dishonest. He's a stranger to the truth. He was factually challenged. He was confused beyond redemption. He was suffering from a truth deficit. And he's a fabricator and a concoctor. 100,000 jobs, he does not even know. The working population of Trinidad and Tobago is 576,000. In 2024, late 2024, that's the numbers. 596,000. 574,000 were working. So the unemployed was 22,400. He is now saying in the last 7 months, 100,000 people unemployed. It's a total fabrication. And when you come to the Senate, if they don't want to research and do the work, then they should go in their bed, lie down and sleep and stay home. Just concocting figures. 100,000 people lost what jobs? Abject, total nonsense of the PNM. The same Senator Sanjeev Budo then went on. He's a lawyer. I come from a family of lawyers. I used to respect lawyers until I met PNM lawyers. I used to think that lawyers were some of the most brilliant human beings. Mother, father, older brother, Oxford, Harvard, younger brother, sister, son, all lawyers. But then I come and meet these PNM lawyers, and this one, Senator Sanjeev Budo, comes in here to say, well, the fines, he did research that demerit points will curtail behavior in a more meaningful manner than the fines. But you know, nobody here moved the demerit points. So it's fine and demerit points, so, which means that they curtail the behavior twice then. But you come here to debate, and you don't even know the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, and you come here to swear on a Bible to do the service for the people. The PNM have no shame. That is why when I did not know the member, but when I heard he's some PNM member going up in Kumuto, Manzanilla, his first speech on the platform, because I listened to everybody, he said, these roads are bad, it's terrible. There is no water in this area and that area. The schools are dilapidated and they will not renovate. I said, but he in government. That's why he lost. Because he let the people know, don't vote PNM because nothing is working. And now I understand that that was not a fluke or that was not by mistake. He come back here now and talking the same abject total nonsense. But one thing, you know, I talk to the people on the camera now. Anytime you're in trouble and you need good lawyers, clearly look for UNC lawyers, because the PNM lawyers they have here, if it's not Senator Sanjeev Boodoo, it's Senator Larry DeLuza, and then Senator Renta Building. So just look for UNC lawyers, and CPEP contractors also. Look for, where's Karim Marcel? You should look for UNC lawyers. CPEP contractors need UNC lawyers too, because they lost again, and now they have to pay. I hope them PNM lawyers who set up their clients will go and pay the fees for them. Well, Senator Sanjeev Boodoo said something there, and I nearly, Mr. President, I nearly fall off my chair. He said, and he was talking about the transfer of vehicles, and he said he had not seen in this country anybody get charged for not transferring a vehicle in 14 days and so on, and therefore we need more implementation of the law. I wonder if he ever looked to your left or your right. I wonder if he ever talked to a senatorial colleague who had a Porsche and it didn't transfer, and it went long and hard, and they couldn't find it, and another lawyer paid $600,000, but the check didn't cash. He didn't know about all of that. But somehow they didn't get charged. Now that is where we have to find out why they didn't get charged. Maybe it has to do with the fact that the PNM gets so involved in independent institutions that they handpick their own commissioner of police when the Police Service Commission chose somebody else. Maybe it is that. But you're talking about confidence in the economy. We have no confidence in our institutions because the PNM interferes with them all. So for this senator to talk about transfer of a vehicle, knowing good well and well PCY 84 was not transferred and nothing happened. So where do we go from there?
Well, of course, people, I think we better pause here tomorrow night because it's pretty long, and of course, I know it's very interesting. I know that you want to stay on, but of course, we have to close off. It is now what? Let me make sure. Yes, it's now 8:36, and so you got an extra what? 1 minute? No, but six minutes. Yes, 8:30, 9:30, right? Six minutes. Yes, so. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, of course, and see you tomorrow night as we continue with these and other topics. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, the ground report will be there. Don't forget, of course, we will be moving to TTT on the 5th of next month. Yes, next month, first Monday, I believe it is, yes, in the new year. I think, yes, it would have been the first Monday in the new year. And more than that, of course, we will be on the Channel 4 as well, and but the radio frequency will be 91.1 over at TTT. So look forward to that, and we will get a greater reach and more audience, and those persons who for one reason or another, because they simply are not familiar with the technology, or they don't have time, or they don't have connectivity, I'm sure our radio will do the trick when we would have been placed and begin, of course, our work to influence and to disseminate information that nowhere else you could get it in terms of analysis by you, the callers, you, the bloggers, and of course, the host, whether it be individual or whether it be dual or whether it be a trio, right? Andy, Mikey, and myself, or whether it be Andy alone or Lennox Smith alone, or indeed Lennox Smith and Joshua in terms of duo in the night on the corridor transformation. My son, yes, he's 10 years of age, but I think he's learning well and picking up well. He's not on tonight, but of course, we're going to see I don't want to push him too much. I don't want him to get him too, what I consider be burnt out too early, right? Because he has a long way to go. He's only 10 years of age. All right. So that being a bit, let's get back, of course, to the Christmas music. I think I love the Christmas music, and that tune that I wanted to play, well, I have an opportunity now, of course, to treat with it and bring it onto the screen itself for you to enjoy. Let me bring it onto the screen itself so that you can enjoy it just as how I have been over the years. Yes, indeed.
A special time of year. Twinkle and your loving is all I want to share. I don't want your diamond ring. I don't need the fancy thing. The only thing I'm missing is my husband.
Yes, indeed. Of course, that's Marcia Miranda. Yes, Marcia Miranda. I love this tune.
All the gifts the drink tree, they don't mean nothing to me. Give me love, give me love, give me love. La 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 la. Yo 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 la 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 yo yo yo. La 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 yo 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 yo. Give me love, give me love, give me love. Now I like the way you paint up and vanish all my flaws. Now I don't mean to hurt you, but I'm think no raise my paws. Punch a cream and ginger beer, carol singers